Hello YouTubers. Today I'm going to fulfill a promise that I made to you last week. Last week I said that I was going to fix up my router table so that I could make a finger joint jig for a turning. Let me show you the turning. This is the turning that I referred to, in which I told you that the hinges didn't turn out right, and so this is a little barrel looking thing that I turned, and I need to put better hinges on it. And the finger joint jig that I'm going to make is kind of like your fingers, but allows, if you put a peg through the fingers, then you'll have a hinge. And that's what I'm going to do today, is to make the jig that will allow me to make accurate finger joints, and so I can use it on my turning. Turning is still my focus, but other tools are necessary sometimes to achieve the purpose. And today it is a finger joint jig. Alright, I'm going to speed this thing up so you don't have to see every detail or hear every comment. So here we go. Okay, YouTubers, I'm up to the point where I can show you how this thing's supposed to work. So we're not fully assembled yet, but I'll show you the functionality of it. Okay. We've got these small parts. We have a basic box. Got a little hardware in here. We'll get to that later. I don't know. You can't see, but the box is exactly the width of the table, the router table. I don't have any guiding channels or anything like that to guide the box as it goes over the router bit here. So the way I overcame that is I made sure that the sides of the router table is the same at one end as it is to the other. Width across is the same. As it turns out, it's the same across the front as it is across the back, as well as along the sides. Alright. Next, one of the parts that I haven't cut out is the guides that go on each side. They'll just drop down the side and overhang the edge of the table, and it appeared to me to be true enough that I would be able to make finger joints with it. We'll wait and see how that really turns out. Alright, now this is a basic box. I tried to make it as true as possible, as square as possible. And which have slots in them. These slots are designed to fit right over the back edge here of the finger joint jig, like so. And they will be sliding. They're a little bit tight right now, but they'll be sliding back and forth along here to move the workpiece. The workpiece will be attached to these, and the workpiece will move in front of the router bit, which will then cut the finger joints. And so these two are very tightly designed for the edge of the thickness of the plywood that I used. And you have to be careful with plywood in that this is supposed to be 3/4 inch plywood, but the specification for plywood is to be no greater than 3/4 of an inch. So it can be not as thick as 3/4 of an inch, but it cannot be more than 3/4 of an inch. And therefore there's a variance. We're working with wood, so there's a variance in thickness. So I had to custom cut these and trimmed them carefully so that they would fit over this as close as possible. We don't want any slop. And now to box that in, I have 4 more pieces to create a rigid little box here. And this box will come together just like this. You'll have a piece in the front here. This will be where your workpiece fits in and clamps in. And this is put on the back for rigidness. Then we have two more pieces. One fits down in the front section here at the bottom, down toward the bottom. And this other one in the back here at the bottom. And it creates a very rigid little box that will then be translated, moved from one end to the other. This one is catching it at this point. But as time goes on with wear and tear, it'll eventually get a lot slicker to move. Now the movement that I've talked about is provided by an awl thread. There will be holes drilled in the side here to accept this awl thread. And this awl thread is a special size, not special, but is sized in other words, it's 3/8 of an inch. It's a 3/8 awl thread, 3/8 diameter, and it has 16 threads per inch. And since we measure things in 16ths, then that's the perfect number of threads, because as I crank this, and if it's fixed to this box here, then with each crank it will move to the right or to the left 1/16 of an inch. Now these T-nuts are 3/8 by 16 threads. This one will go in and run all the way down to the point that it'll be fastened around. It's got 3 holes in the end, and there's little screws that you put in it to fasten it to this piece. And of course this thread, awl thread, will extend all the way through, and there will be another bracket up the side here that I haven't cut yet, in which this will pass through, not the T-nut. Okay, it'll be positioned somewhere in there, and it'll have a crank on it, and I'll be able to crank it 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns, 4 turns gives me. Okay, my phone had an alarm on it, so I had to go see what the alarm was about. Anyway, we're back here. The T-nut will fit into the side of this, fasten to it, and be about here. There'll be a crank on this end that I will be able to rotate, and that will cause this box to move left or right. And there's another T-nut here. It'll be on this side to help support the whole process. There'll be a lock nut which will be on this end, along with a washer, and the same thing on this end. These, being a lock nut, will not rotate whenever I rotate the crank. So therefore it moves the box left or right according to the number of turns that you rotate it. And as I mentioned, there will be a bracket that comes up here, in which the all thread will pass through. And so that's how it works. And so I guess the next thing for us to do is go ahead and assemble this box and begin to put the working mechanism together.